Hold on. We here, y'all. We here. Hold on. We got to get into our teas, okay? Let's get into it.
For you want to hear it? Here it goes.
Choir.
All my wiggins, bring the tea.
I said,
All my wiggins, bring the tea.
I said,
All my wiggins, bring the tea.
we go down to the courthouse.
Bring the tea.
He give us ID news.
Bring the tea.
He is never biased.
Bring the tea.
I said, now,
All my wiggins, bring the tea.
I said,
All my wiggins, bring the tea. All my wiggins, bring the tea. All my wiggins, bring the tea.
I want to thank all my.
Bring the tea.
I want to thank all my.
Bring the tea.
Ooh, he's sassy and classy.
Bring the tea.
I said,
All my wiggins, bring the tea.
I said, all my weekends. I said, all my weekends. Be bringing the tea. I said, all my niggas. Be bringing the tea. I said, all my niggas. Be bringing the tea. Okay. So listen, I'm going to let y'all know. Today was a snooze fest with a little bit of baby oil. Not so much. I think we did a little baby oil today, but instead of the baby oil, we got spaghetti and turkey meat. We'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, so today's live is going to be a little bit more serious, guys, but before we get into that, big announcement. So today I did 2 shows. I did Pix 11. So I'll be showing you guys that news segment that I did. Shout out to me. And I did Inside the Diddy Trial on Tubi, the podcast on TMZ's newest podcast with Harvey Levin, Ebony K. Williams, Nancy Grace, and there's 2 other people. I forgot their names, but Ray J was there with Ray J as well. And so we did that show. I did a segment on there. They called me back as soon as I did the segment, and they're like, we need you to come in and be a full guest host next week. So I'm going to be a full panelist on the show, I believe, next week. Once the show drops, I think it's going to drop on Tubi either tonight or in the morning or next week. I will let you guys know when it drops. But we were on TV and we're making moves. So that's why I was a little bit late today. Next Thursday, I'll probably be late again just because I'm doing the full TMZ show, the full panel. And so, guys, we're growing, we're moving, and we're getting into spaces, okay? So we're moving on up in the world, so just bear with me when I'm a little bit late, okay? So I can't wait for you guys to watch that segment, and I can't wait for you guys to watch next week on Tubi. I'm sitting up there with Harvey Levin, Nancy Grace, and getting into some things. Okay, this little boy from the hood. So just from this YouTube channel, we getting it popping, and I wouldn't ever be able to do it without you guys. So I want to say thank you guys so much, and I appreciate you guys for being here and supporting the channel. Now, let's get into the things. Today was a day where they finished the cross-examination with Deontay Nash, okay? And then they brought in the private witness, which is Mia. I can't get into any descriptions about her. The feds are watching my page. They made an announcement. They're watching all the bloggers, all the YouTubers, all the press. So I cannot give any descriptive, anything to what she looks like. It can cause a mistrial, and I can go to jail. So we just have to refer to her as Mia, and that's all I can give you guys in regards to this lady's image. and who she is. Okay. I don't think she's famous though. That's all I can say. And I don't even want to say too much. So that's it. Okay. So let's get into Deontay Nash's continuous cross-examination. So the cross-examination was led today by Xavier Damson. He's the black attorney on Diddy's team. I personally feel Xavier is by far the worst defense attorney on that team. I hate to say that because he's black, but it seems like he's trying too hard to be, you know how we are as black people. We be trying too hard, but it's not really sticking. Deontay was really hammering in. So Deontay comes in with her oversized look cute, look like a nice stylist. Deontay's doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to paint this picture now. The defense is trying to paint this picture that Cassie didn't tell Deontay everything about her life. And if he's such good friends with her, she didn't tell him everything that she was doing with Diddy. She didn't tell him about the freak offs, the threesomes. She didn't tell him about, trips that she was taking with Diddy. Okay. And so at the end of the day, what I got from Deontay was a lot of people didn't speak about it because Deontay comes in sashaying, performance mode, hair swinging, fabulous gay, okay, really giving a lot on the stand, starts off, good morning, how are you? Deontay, I'm blessed, and girl, like giving all that, okay? But this jury is a stone cold, no smile, no nothing, they're not cracking at all. Deontay is acting a plumb fool, so he's got the jury laughing and cackling. They're pretty much going through everything. So did you see Cassie do this? Did you see Cassie do that? When you would do this, you were still riding Puff, and trying to be cool with Puff, and you were still trying to be, writing him nice messages, and they were trying to show that people still cared about Diddy. And Deontay's thing is, well, yeah, I didn't hate Diddy, and I would write him because, we had a report. He's not a nice man, but, I didn't have a problem with him. And so they were trying to stumble him up, and they were trying to actually insinuate that Deontay had been on the phone with Cassie, and they've been corroborating what to say on the witness stand. Okay, so they were asking, did you talk to Cassie before the trial? He said, well, yeah. He said, did you talk to her during the trial? He said, no. Did you talk to her after the trial? He was like, a little bit, but it was just more to congratulate her about the baby. So the defense is over here grasping for straws. Now, I know we were kind of carrying on Deontay's time yesterday, but today I'll tell you why I feel like Deontay is a powerful witness. Deontay is a powerful witness because he was able to do something that most of the witnesses that got on the stand was not able to do. And he was able to bring light and laughter to the situation. Why that is important is because while he's a little bit ratchet, flamboyant, and carries on the stand and a little bit unprofessional and kind of veers outside of the lines, I think that shows a level of relatability where the jurors can actually identify with that, see themselves in him, or they know someone like that, or would at least feel like, I want my friend to have my back like Deontay. Deontay was not going for none of the wooden hangers that they was flinging at his neck. Okay? He wasn't going for it. He was checking Damson left and right. And they said, well, is it true that you said this? Well, I don't know what I said. I didn't say that. I know for a fact that I didn't say this. And if I said it like this wasn't for me. They tried to pull up a text message where Deontay, in 2022, asked Diddy how he can get into one of Diddy's parties. But he was like, okay, I did send that text, but it wasn't for me. It was for a client. So they were just trying to paint this picture that Deontay was still trying to be involved with Diddy. And then they showed a text message where Deontay was like, hey, Diddy, me and you cool. Love you, bro. What's going on? And then Diddy responds back to him and say, nah, bro, it's like that. We ain't cool, bro. It's all love. But nigga, the trainer, I guess this is when Cassie started talking to the trainer. So Diddy texts Deontay like, Nigga, why you didn't tell me that she was banging the trainer? But either way, let me know if she needed anything for real. Nah, no bullshit. But I mean, come on, I thought we was boys. You got her with the trainer, my nigga? Are you serious? And so they was just showing out. Deontay was still trying to be cool with Diddy outside of the Cassie relationship, which I don't really think that was a problem. I think he was just trying to keep a good rapport. He never said that he hated Diddy. And then of course he messaged Diddy when, Kim Porter passed. Of course he messaged Diddy to check on the family and say, hey, hope all is well when you're winning awards. I was on that team for quite some time. And so I don't think that they did a good job by trying to turn Deontay out to be some person that still wanted to be aligned with Diddy. Going back to my original point, why I think Deontay is so important is because those jurors, when you can make people laugh, when you can bring light, when you can bring a certain vibe to people, they want to see you win. They want to see you be successful. They vote for you. And so while a lot of people may have thought that he was too sassy, borderline messy, I think that it kind of worked in his favor because it kind of gave that air of, well, this nigga don't need to lie. He don't care. He don't even want to be here. He telling it like it is. He got on that stand and said, you know what, Damson? I already see where you going. Did I hook her up with Michael B. Jordan? I sure did, because when I tried to hook her up with, I hooked her up with Michael B. Jordan because your client was walking around town with Gina. Michael B. Jordan is fine. Cassie fine. So I hooked them up because your client was running around town with Gina having my girl look crazy. That wasn't even the question. And so the audience kind of gagged. So, I mean, not the audience, but the jury's like, well, girl, he just said it. Yeah, I did it. And what? Because Diddy had Cassie out here looking crazy. And then Xavier said, so was Cassie jealous of Gina? She was really pressed about Gina, huh? He's like, no, she wasn't pressed about Gina. That wasn't the point. The point is, you're trying to embarrass her. Diddy's out here embarrassing embarrassing Cassie. Cassie's around her peers trying to have a career. And Gina is out here being toted around by Diddy. So I told my girl that she need to move on to the next day. It is what it is. So the way he was giving it up, the jurors was like, oh, okay. Oh, now I see. So there was a specific text message that I seen, and they were trying to paint this picture because Deontay was talking about how Cassie was always being beat by Diddy. And Cassie texted Deontay, and I guess she was out of town with Diddy in Mexico. Deontay was like, what's your tea? She was like, I'm at my hotel, I'm out of town. And he was like, girl, you always out of town. She was like, yeah, I deserve it because all that I go through. In that, the defense was like, oh, so because Cassie sent a picture of her face. And he was like, do you see her face? Is she beat up? He was like, no. Does she have any bruises? No. Does she seem happy? He's like, yeah. She looks happy. She said she was happy. And she's in Mexico with Diddy after she had just got her ass whooped at a red carpet event. He said, yeah. She said, did you know that she was going over there? He said, well, no, I didn't know that she was going out of town with Diddy. He said, it goes to show you that, she don't tell you everything she got going on, right? He said, I don't tell her everything I got going on. She a grown woman. She don't got to tell me everything she got going on. He said, that's not what I asked you. She don't tell you everything that she got going on, right? He said, she don't have to tell me everything she got going on. I don't tell her everything I got going on. He said, sir, the question is, she don't tell you everything she got going on. He was like, I guess not. No. Okay, and what? At the end of that text message thread that they were having, there was a Nene Leakes meme that said, bloop. Right? Once they closed off that exhibit, there were two jurors, black ladies, front row, second row. Second row lady, she looks at the first black lady. They make eye contact. They didn't read. Now, the defense didn't read the bloop part. They just read the text message thread between Deontay and Cassie, and with Cassie being in Mexico and Deontay saying, "Oh, you always in Mexico, blase, blase, blah." Once they closed the exhibits, the jurors both looked at each other, and the black lady said, "Bloop." Nobody caught that but me. Now, I ain't saying you got to be black to know what that means, but you might got to be black to know what that means. What that told me was, them black ladies are on the same page. And that said, I don't give a damn if Cassie is in Mexico, Aruba, or Dubai. You deserve that nigga money. Spend his money. After he been beating you like that, girl, I would have did the same thing too. So it's not a read that you out of town, because you deserve, that's the least he could do after all that he put you through. So for me, that was the first time I actually felt like, okay, a juror has picked a side. That's what that told me. Now, a lot of other people missed that, but that's what that told me. Now, is that 100% accurate? Is that going to be the defining moment? We still got a lot of time to go. But that let me know that at least one black lady is kind of like, and two is kind of like on the same page, like, girl, I would have did that too. And also by the bloop, let me know you're in on meme culture, shade room culture, hip hop culture. So both you black women know who Diddy is. And y'all have already came into this probably with a little bit of a preconceived notion, because y'all are women and y'all are seeing what's going on here. So y'all not going to be fooled by the toughness of the defense and their ability to, you know, pull things and kind of, because the defense is really good with making small things, big things, and causing the witnesses to be uncredible in a jury's eyes. They're very good at making witnesses' testimonies come across like, I can't really, they're a little bit uncredible. They're good at creating doubt out of little things. They're really good at that. However, I think with Deontay, that they felt like that was my homeboy. Even the white people was laughing and feeling like, you know what, I like this guy. Even if they didn't resonate with him as a woman, right? It was something that he brought to where you was like, you know what? I believe him. And I'm not judging him because he has character flaws, because he's just doing what he got to do for his homegirl. So I thought that was very important. So here's the other part. They said all the people who understand bloop. Yeah, I mean, I know what that meant. And so now we move into Mia. But before Mia gets there, I'm paying attention to Diddy. So Diddy, through this whole trial, I'm getting into it. He stays gray. He wears a collar shirt up to here, which covers his tattoos. Today, when he walked in the courtroom, he spoke to me, and he spoke to another gentleman that was in the courtroom, like head on, like, what's up? Charlucci came and spoke directly to another guy in the courtroom. So I don't know if he's just recognizing him in the courtroom, but it's somebody that continues to be in the courtroom he spoke to. Diddy looked me in the eye, but I think Diddy now was starting to speak to people that he recognizes in the courtroom often. So Diddy gave me the nod. Gave them the nod. Okay, cool. Boom. That was an interaction. I'm like, okay, so Diddy's people are speaking. One time in the cafeteria, King Combs spoke to me. but it was more like, what's up, hi and bye. Quincy don't speak, Justin don't speak, the mom, she don't speak. King came, what's up, boom. Diddy sits down, and the thing that's so interesting about Diddy is when you're hearing certain testimonies, he seems so unbothered and just like immune to it, but I realized he already knows what they're going to say. Diddy was actually, to me, a little bit more jovial today, and I think that he's numb to what people are going to say. I think a lot of people are wanting Diddy to be in the courtroom like he was doing that earlier on, but for the first part of today, he was like, let's go. But I know that the defense knows that they have their work cut out for them because Mark Garagos' daughter, I forget her name, she's one of the attorneys on the thing. She came in with her hair ponytailed up. Everybody on the prosecution, all them white, every single white lady had their hair in a ponytail. To me, that means something. It means it's getting very, very critical. I don't need none of this on my shoulders in a way. I'm getting up to object. I'm getting up to fight. We're fighting today. We're not playing. It's getting really tense like that because both sides are fighting for what they want to get in to the court to get presented to the jury. Yes, Tenny Garagos. She had that hair up, then she pulled it out because she was like, okay, we ain't started yet. Then it went back up. Well, what I also thought was interesting is when Tenny walked in, Diddy made it his business to stand up, pull her seat out, and help her sit down. I thought that was interesting. I said, oh, because he has Diddy still has this charm about him that he knows how to charm women. He's very charming to her. He made sure to get up, pull her seat up, and help her to her seat. I thought that was very interesting. That was the first time I seen that. But I don't know if that was for everybody else to see and go report on, but he did that. Okay? In walks the mom, blonde pixie cut. She's feeling fast. She's got her, I don't know what frame she had on, but she on a leather fringe vest jacket. Then shortly after, the three boys came in. I don't know if they got a stylist every day they come to work, but Quincy be best dressed every single day. Quincy gonna give you a look every day in the courtroom. Justin gonna give you a little medium look, but he thick, okay? King is like the baby. King is really close to the grandmother. I think that he's closest to the grandma to everybody. He be by his nana, baby. He scoots her in and holds his nana the entire courtroom. He be on his nana. It's always Quincy on the outside, Justin in the middle, King on the other end. The grandma sits here, and Chalucci is on the far end, and King has always got his grandma right here. He don't be letting her go. He don't play about his grandma, baby, at all. When I was looking at it, I was like, damn, Quincy seems a little intense, but I realized that Quincy probably has the most pressure on him. He's got the issue with his father. He's got the thing with the mom. Then he's the oldest out of everybody. And then they're watching their stepfather on trial for all of this stuff. And he's in his 30s. So he's got to hold it together for everybody and be the centerpiece. And actually being the oldest is hard. And you're misplaced a little bit. So I'm watching all these different dynamics because my job today was just to see, because I knew that the defense was not going to really be able to, I knew that the defense was not going to be able to handle Deontay Nash, and Deontay Nash was already taking it home. He did a great job by proving, hey, Cassie, we had to hide Cassie from Diddy. We had to run. He even said, I even did illegal things for Diddy. I was doing illegal stuff. I was doing drugs. I did illegal work. Incriminated himself. So that defense couldn't play with Deontay. Because Deontay was like, yeah, we was all in on it. It was a bunch of, he had us all working on bullshit. Your client. So I'm like, I know they're not going to be able to do nothing with him because he too real. He keeping it way too real. And now he's becoming likable. So I'm watching the dynamics of the family. But I'm sitting behind them. So I can't really see, but I see them passing little notes here and there. The mom just sits stoic. I can't really get a good read on her. So that's that. But then it gets tricky because not the Jane Doe, but Mia comes in. And at first I was like, okay, we got the rule. We can't say nothing about Mia, nothing what she looks like, whatever. All I can tell you is it's a woman. I don't know how I feel about Mia. I'm going to be honest with you. And at first I didn't know how I felt about Mia just in general. Mia walked in with about 7 people. 7 people from her legal team. I don't know if they was friends, family. I don't know nothing. About 5 or 6 of them were women. And they were all dressed real nice, including Mia. Ooh, I'm like, ooh, look at the privilege over here. She got to be anonymous. They just look like money. I'm like, okay, what is the tea? But in my mind, I'm like, okay, I see why they probably had all of the girls come, because just in case they got caught by the cameras, you don't know which one of them is Mia if they're walking down the hall and if you're not in the courtroom. So in my mind, I feel like she had all those people because if she was just by herself, you'd be able to clock her. In a crowd full of people, if we all walking outside and you're not in the courtroom, you may not know which one Mia is. So I have to be very careful with this Mia part. So Mia walks in. And she just looks down. And I'm like, is she reading something? Because she's like, they asking her the standard question and she keep doing this. Talking like this. And she was irritating me because I'm like, bitch, say something. But she like looking down and she won't look up and she talking really low like this. She talking really low. And they're like, do you know Diddy? Do you know this? And she stop. Stop. And she talk. And she stop. And then she talking like this and she won't look up. And she keep talking slow. And yes, I used to work for him. I was his assistant. And I did this. And yes, I saw him be violent with Cassie. I used to work 24 hours a day. And I'm like, I cannot hear you. I couldn't hear that. I was getting so irritated. And she just would look. She never looked at the jury. She never looked up once. And then when she walked away, she got up and it was almost like she was in this character of being just so traumatized and afraid. So let me see what I even wrote on her because I was getting so annoyed. let's get into let's see what I even said about Mia. So she said she was from, I'm not even gonna say what she said she was from. They said, what names do you know Diddy by? She said, P. Diddy, Mr. C, Diddy, Puff. They said, well, I work for P. Diddy as his personal assistant. They said, well, how was the work environment? She said, the work environment was chaotic, toxic, exciting. There were some highs and there were some lows. And I'm like, what the is she saying? I'm like, won't she open her mouth? I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So just know, I don't even know if y'all heard me, but she was basically saying it was chaotic as hell to work there. It was toxic, but yet it was exciting. She said there was highs, and she said there were lows. They said, what was the biggest thing about Diddy? Why was it so much like that? She said it was his mood. His mood was all over the place. They asked her, had he been violent to her? She said, yes, he would throw things at her. He threw an ice bucket at her head, grabbed a bucket of ice and said, bitch, shut up, bow. Tossed the bucket at her, bow. She said it was one time that Diddy took her phone. She was so scared that Diddy had took her phone because she had been talking shit about Diddy with the other employees. She didn't want Diddy to catch the text messages where she was talking. So she ran and followed Diddy into the bathroom. I guess Diddy ran into a bathroom. She reached to get her phone. Diddy ran in the bathroom and slammed her arm in the door, slammed it shut, and left out and kept the phone. We're going to get into that a little bit later. She says that Diddy threw her into a pool. Just tossed her into a pool, get in the pool, and shut the up. Bow, right in the pool. She said that Diddy has ate her more than once. I said, she's reading off of something because she wouldn't look. She was just reading. I said, she keeps looking down with her head down. And I said, looking very twitchy because she kept doing this. She had her hair in a ponytail, 2 bangs, and she kept twitching. They asked her, I don't know if I can even say this. I'm not even going to say that because I don't even know if I can say that. She apparently worked for Diddy from 2009 to 2017. She was 25 or 26 at the time. I don't know really what I can say. That's why I'm like, I don't want to say anything. She met Diddy with the chief of staff, Tony Baez Fletcher. Okay. Diddy interviewed her at his house. Now, apparently, when Diddy went to interview her, a lady named by the name of Basha brought her to Diddy's house for an interview. She opened the door. Diddy was naked in his drawers for the interview. This how Diddy opened the door. That's how Diddy opened the door. Okay? And the lady left, and Diddy did the interview. And so she said Diddy had on nothing but drawers. They said, well, who was all there? Derek Roche was there, so Derek Roche might be coming in to speak. Eventually, she ended up getting the job. She said she was very excited, very eager to accept the job. And she was so happy to work for Diddy, but she didn't quite understand the scope of what she was doing. They asked her about her previous employer, what the hours were. I don't want to say the name because I don't want you to look it up and then it doxes her, so I'm not doing that. So she said that she worked from 10 to 6 Monday through Friday with her previous employer. With Diddy, she worked 24 hours a day. Her salary with Diddy was $50,000 a year for 40 hours a week, and she always worked overtime. First day of work, she didn't see Diddy. She was told that she wouldn't see Diddy for 2 weeks when she was on her trial basis. She had to go to his house in Alpine, New Jersey after that, and then went back to the office. So what she would do is she would go to work during the day. Then after leaving the office, she would go to the house. Then she would get called back to go to the studio. Then after like 1 a.m., she would then have to go back to Diddy house and continue more training. She said she never slept for the first 24 hours on the job. She did a whole day. She said she thought that was a part of the job. That just kind of was what it was. Like, you know, this is the industry. This is part of the job. This is kind of what people do in this business. So she didn't think nothing of it. She said she didn't know when she could sleep. She didn't sleep for 5 days. Diddy had her up for 5 days and $50,000, according to her. They said, well, how did you stay up for 5 days? She said she took the extended release Adderall so she would be zooted so that she could stay up. She would just keep popping Adderall, the extended release. So she would just be high all day working. And Diddy let her do it for 5 days straight. Okay? Then one day she just said she just started panicking. Just started just bugging her out. She was seeing shit. She was panicking. She started bugging them. She just started going wacky to the mother. She just started seeing. She panic, whacked her out. Diddy told her, hey, you better go get you some sleep. Go ahead and take some time off. Nigga, you think after 5 days it'd take me to bang my head against the wall for you to think that I need to sleep? She said she was in there just punching herself and kicking herself and just doing having panic attacks. And then he finally said, hey, maybe you should take some time off. Go get you some rest. This is after a week of no sleep and extended Adderalls. But she had got too kooky. You know what I'm saying? And he said, hey, got to get this kooky away from me. She had got too kooky for him. And so he was over that. Okay. They asked what her personal assistant duties were. They weren't too far off from everybody else's personal assistant duties. A lot of this stuff we've already heard and we already know. The list of responsibilities were to check, send emails, check emails, Diddy's day to day, make sure everything was good. He was happy, you weren't. Make sure the social media was doing together. Daily routing. Make sure P. Diddy projects was all in theme. Stay insightful, maintain relationships. Prioritize Diddy's needs. Every day is something different, from cracking his knuckles to standing around for 22 hours. So I don't know if she was over there cracking her nigga knuckles, or sometimes she just standing around for 22 hours. She was just there. She said one day she went to the Los Angeles house and moved into the staff house. She actually got the guest house in Miami. That was in Miami. She could never leave when she wanted to. When everyone was asleep, she would try to leave. She said she tried to go home and say she was going to go meet a friend, and security told her she could not leave. She couldn't leave. She couldn't lock doors around them. She couldn't do nothing. I see something about you couldn't lock the bedroom. They said, were there any other people that lived there? All the security lived there. Also, she was being overworked. Diddy was supposed to be looking for other assistants, but he couldn't really find other assistants. So she had to be the only assistant for a while. They said, what, if anything, did Diddy tell you about being a personal assistant? He said he believed in her and that they are a team. She felt loved. She was the only personal assistant. Some didn't even last 6 days. Sometimes if she didn't get to run the errands or finish the errands, she also said she would get cursed out and berated. This is crazy. They named a bunch of assistants that came before her. George Kaplan, Brian Lopez, Eli Mirren, and Doug Shirley. All these different people that didn't make it. Then Diddy made her a head of staff or chief of staff of Revolt Films. She was the director of development for Revolt Films in 2013. How many people were at Revolt Films? Well, it was only one. It's her. She got $80,000 for that. So she was moving up. I think the office was his house. They asked her, how close were you to Cassie? I don't know what that. She said she was really close to Cassie. She said she was extremely close to Cassie. They were like best friends. They said, well, she was really close to Cassie. They were like best friends. They said, well, what was what was the relationship like between Cassie and Diddy and all of these things? They said it was toxic. It was unequal, is what she said. So she started describing that. We went to lunch. Oh, the family actually left during this. I feel like they were eating food. They were not even interested in hearing her story. I wrote the family went and ate lunch during the direct. They didn't want to hear her. I don't feel like they wanted to hear that. I think there was an email where Cassie had sent Diddy, and I guess she wasn't able to perform because she didn't have all of her funds or everything together. And so she sent the email to her and Diddy, and Diddy had got the email, and it was something along the lines like, "Hey, I'm sorry I won't be able to attend. I hope this doesn't, I hope this finds you well, and I hope that, it doesn't cause too much of an inconvenience. Um, but I'm not prepared." And Diddy told her something, "You sure will. Make sure you will. And make sure you tell Stephen Hill, because you're most certainly going to embarrass yourself." Something along the lines of like, "Girl, you're a flop. You ain't." Diddy emailed her back. And I wrote, she's saying the same thing that Deontay Nash said. Like, it's just everything. She helped Cassie with her clothes, wardrobe. Diddy, she seen Diddy do drugs. She packed the baby oil. She seen Cassie get beat. She went into detail about how Diddy beat Cassie so bad. Remember the gash on her eye? She said she was there for that. She jumped on Diddy's back to try to stop it, but Diddy cracked Cassie's. The word she used, she said Diddy cracked Cassie's head open. She said that Cassie had to do anything that Diddy wanted her to do. She said she was asked that. She said she was so scared sometimes if they would go out or if they didn't do what Diddy wanted to do, they would get in trouble. And it would be really bad. She said she seen Diddy attack Cassie and throw her on the ground, crack her head open. At this point, I'm like, this is not a good witness because she was irritating me, but I think it got better later on. I said she can't really articulate. She said she saw gushing blood dropping from Cassie's head. Other times she's seen Cassie with a black eye. They asked him, "Did you see Diddy do drugs?" She said, "Yes." How was he on drugs? She would say hyper. He would be turned up and he'd be wearing glasses. One time they went to a Prince party. She stayed in the hotel with Cassie. Well, Diddy told her to stay in the hotel with Cassie. They snuck to the Prince party anyway. They broke through the entrance. Diddy seen her in the entrance and they got scared because Diddy told them to stay home. And he dragged Cassie and whipped her ass and suspended her with no pay for being insubordinate because she wasn't supposed to go to the party because he wanted her to stay locked up in the hotel. They said, "Well, why did you stay during all of this? Like, why did you continue to be with Diddy? Why did you continue working?" She said she thought it fell under she was under NDA. She thought it fell under the confidentiality agreement. And this is before the Me Too movement and all that stuff that happened. So women's like rights in that moment wasn't a thing. Let me ask you this too. This is a sidebar. Outside of this, do you guys, and I'm just posing a question. would you think that Diddy should be the only one going down for this when culturally during that time, perhaps this was the culture where, people could get away with this stuff? Should he be the only one, or should he be going to jail or being charged for things that was acceptable during this time? Because times have changed and things have not become acceptable as much. So that's just a question I want to know. They said, what kind of things have you seen on Cassie? Oh, no. So anyway, she said, so she thought it felt under confidentiality. So she felt like she couldn't say anything because it was just like, well, girl, I'm going to ruin my job, ruin my opportunity. So he said that she's seen marks on Cassie, bruises, cuts, and gashes. The Perfect Match premiere, which we talked about yesterday, Cassie had a gash on her arm. They put up a picture. She had a bruise on her arm. She had a black eye. May 2012, I think they were at the I couldn't really articulate what she said, film festival. Cassie had a busted lip. Okay? Cassie had to sit. Sometimes Cassie would have to sit in the hotel rooms until she healed enough to go back outside. One time, she said that her, Cassie, and Diddy was at the Brad Pitt premiere. And she said Diddy was silently talking to Cassie, gritting his teeth and digging his hands into her arms. And he was saying, "You stupid bitch, don't you shut the fuck up, you stupid motherfucker. You stupid bitch, motherfucker. It did not tell you, bitch." But it was like, while he was doing that, he was digging his hands into her arm, telling, "You stupid motherfucking bitch. You stupid son of a bitch." You know what I mean? And she said she looked over and Diddy said, "Now go take care of this bitch." So she had to go because she was digging in Cassie's arms and legs, and he was gritting his teeth and saying, "You stupid motherfucking bitch." I'm like, what? And that's what apparently, and they all at the Brad Pitt premiere. December 22nd, 2011. Diddy told Mia that he found out that Cassie was dating Kid Cudi and he was heartbroken. And I said, it's like she can't take, because she was just like pausing and stopping. I was like, what is she doing? She said Diddy and Cassie would be in hotels together. Then she'd be on call. She'd have to bring lotions, baby oil, Astroglide, candles, some cheap candles, inexpensive candles. And she had to clean up the hotels because remember, the oil would be everywhere. Everybody had to clean up the hotels after it all. They said, have you ever seen Cassie after a hotel night? Said, yes. She said, actually, I even brought drugs to Cassie. They said, well, what did Cassie have on when you brought the drugs to the hotel room? She said, Cassie had on a bright blue wig. That's probably when she was Veronica Bang. Okay. Then she would, like I said, she would have to go clean up because they didn't want a housekeeper to clean up because it was so freaky in there. It was so much stuff. They didn't want the housekeeper to grab stuff and sell it to TMZ and make their money. Then they asked her what liquids Diddy would like. Wait, hold on. I'm seeing blood, water, and period blood. We're going to get into that because that was some tea. They said that after the weekends where her and Cassie sometimes would be down, Diddy and Cassie would be down after they call it a man down day. That's the hangover day. Where Diddy and Cassie would just lay in the bed all day. They asked Mia, they said, "Hey, have you ever taken drugs with Diddy?" She said, "Yes." They said, "Who provided the drugs?" She said, "Diddy." She said she was at Diddy's house and they were getting ready for a party and she took some MDMA. And one time, they said, "How did you feel off of it?" She said she was happy off the Molly and made a lot of friends. She had a good time. She was happy and high as shit and made a lot of friends. Then they went to a Burning Man, I think, concert or party. I don't know what that is. But then there was some ketamine. Now, somebody had took some ketamine. She didn't really want to take the ketamine because she's seen somebody take ketamine before and they had blacked out. I think that was Diddy. She said Diddy had did some ketamine. He had blacked out. He did put the shade, then he turned the shades on and turned down disco lights. He turned the shades down and turned disco lights on in the house and said, "Now," he had hit that ketamine, turned the shades down, turned the disco lights on. It was getting real freaky in there. Then he said, "Now let's play a game." Let's play a game. And I guess the game was drugs. So Diddy wanted her to take the ketamine. She said that she snorted the ketamine, but didn't snort it all the way. And when he wasn't looking, she blew it out. Because she would fake like she was hitting it. Because she felt like she had to. She said Diddy would always have his bag full of drugs and stayed with him. They said, "Mia, how would Diddy treat you?" She said, "Like a best friend, a partner, or sometimes a piece of crap. He would curse at me. He would rant at me, call me stupid, incompetent. And then he would throw things at me." Yes. He said he would take her credit cards from her. And one day, he asked her to do something. He wanted her to get everybody, go to her room or something. He said, no, it was 3 a.m. at Diddy's house. They said at 3 a.m. she wanted to go to her room because she was on her period. And she had been working all day. And he wanted her to go do something or go get somebody. I was in and out. I was knocked out. I was paying attention, but I was out. She said he went on a rant on everybody. And he said, "Go get everybody, bring everybody in the room, go get everybody." Like he wanted her to go bring everybody to talk to him. Like, go get everybody and we're going to have a meeting. He was like, well, let me just go to my room really quick because I'm on my period. She's like, go get everybody. She was like, she said the blood was literally dripping down her leg. He said, just go get it. She said, I just want to go to my room real quick. I'm on my period. I have to change my tampon really quick. And he said that he was eating, because he wanted everybody to come down to the kitchen. He was eating a bowl of spaghetti. And he said, bitch, didn't I tell you to go get everybody? And hucked the bowl of spaghetti at her. It missed, but he threw it at her face. And then after that, shortly after that, he came back and hucked turkey meat at her. Bow. Meanwhile, she bleeding down her leg. That was crazy. And then he said, get the fuck out. And put her out. She ran and hid. She called Boschka, the head of HR. And HR said, well, I'm sorry that happened to you, but we're going to put you on a suspension. She said, why am I going on suspension? She said, that's because that's what Diddy wants. So she got suspended. I'm like, yo, this is insane. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Diddy also threw a computer at Mia. She had just got to the trailer on a music video set and the Wi-Fi wasn't working. She came back and told Diddy, hey, they're getting the Wi-Fi working. Diddy cut her off screaming and said, bitch, don't you come back here until you fix this mother Wi-Fi. You stay down there until it works. Picked the computer up and threw it at her head. Pow. She said she was terrified, humiliated. Felt like, what did I do to make him so upset? One day she was in Turks and Caicos and she had finally got to some rest. She was near her bedroom and she said she was asleep. And she woke up in shock. Mind you, she's on a hammock. You know what a hammock is. You laying out, Turks and Caicos, chilling. You catching some Z's. You thinking you get rest. You tired. And she abruptly woke up. She said Diddy had came with a full ice bucket and threw all ice on it. Bitch, get up. And snatched her phone. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, what? Yo. I'm like, what? What? This stuff is not real life. This is not real life. This is not, yo, this is not real life. It's like, what? She said she panicked and jumped back. She didn't want him to hit her and grab her phone because she had been talking about her. And so when she was trying to get her phone back, he pushed her in the pool and said, bitch, get back. Pow. She fell in the water. Mind you, as she telling the story, Diddy, I wrote Diddy's looking unfazed and numb by all the Diddy over there looking at talking to his lawyers. Like she ain't saying all this. Diddy is over there like, so what we on next? Passing notes. Like this is not like she not saying all this and we not all gagging. He's paying it. Like literally in the courtroom, like not phased at all. He just looking around. Um, then it gets dark. So this is not funny. I kind of like I stepped out for a minute, but I got the gist of it. So this is when the essay stuff started happening. I guess Diddy was like really, really drunk or messed up. This is when it gets dark. Apparently, he kissed her and put his hand up her dress. She didn't want that to happen. She felt uncomfortable. And she thought, well, maybe he was just a one off. It probably will never happen again. But something did happen again. I think that was his birthday party. That was his 40th birthday. So he was full and he kissed her, stuck his hand up her, tried to finger bang her on his 40th. After that, he essayed her again. She was upstairs in the guest room in a bunk bed, sleeping. The door wasn't locked because she was not allowed to lock doors because it was Diddy's house. And then she broke down. I'm not even gonna play with this. I'm just gonna hit it and miss it. She said that Diddy was on top of her and it woke her up. And it took her forever to get it out. She started crying. And she said, he put himself inside me. And she said when he did that, she froze. And she felt ashamed, terrified, and she just cried. They said, well, how long did it last? She said, very quick. Then they said, how did it end? He wasn't going. She said he wouldn't leave a job unfinished. This is the first time I seen Diddy react. He was like, no. Like, she lying. He was shaking his head like, she's lying. She's lying. I seen him shaking his head this time. He was like shaking his head like, she lying. Second time, she said the second time she was getting ready to go to a meeting and she was getting ready and she was in the closet on the bedroom floor and she looked up and she said Diddy was standing in her face like this and took her head and said, it made her suck his dick. She said she looked up and Diddy had his dick in her face, waving it around, and then put her head on it. And they said, so what happened after that? Well, she sucked it. She said he had his out, grabbing my head and pulled it toward him, and he put it in my mouth. And Diddy is doing this again, like she is lying. No, Diddy is doing this like, oh my, like now he's over it. They said, well, how did you feel? She said, like trash. This is when it gets a little gray. They said, has he essayed you more times? She said, yes, but I don't remember what happened. It was just a dark feeling in my stomach. But I can't remember. But I know it happened. They said, how do you feel? Did you ever want to have sex with Diddy? She said, no. They said, was Cassie there? They said, no. She said, Diddy had other girlfriends. They said, were they there? She said, no. They said, what would you do? When it was over, she said, I would just keep it moving. I would just keep doing what I was doing. They said, did you ever tell Diddy, no, this is not okay? I don't want to do this. And she said, no, I never said no. They said, why did you say no? Why didn't you say no? She said, I didn't say no, which makes sense. She said, I didn't say no because I couldn't tell him no, because if I told him no, then he would know that I felt that what he was doing was wrong and I would be punished for it. That makes sense, guys. That definitely makes sense. And she thought she would lose her job. So that was her testimony today. She was breaking down in tears. There was a lot going on with that. But I have a feeling that Brian Steele is going to drag her tomorrow. So I got to hear the other side. I don't know how I totally feel about this witness, but I do believe her, though. I believe the things happened to her because we looked at the photos yesterday and we saw the gashes on Cassie's eye. I know she's not lying about the Cassie beatdowns. And so why would she lie about the assaults? I'm just trying to figure out how are they going to tie all of that into the RICO? I believe her just because we've seen the proof with Cassie. But that's just what she's going to be 2 days. Tomorrow, they're going to cross her. And I think that they got a lot of stuff on her. Yeah, I didn't hear what they said because I had to leave for the TMZ thing. So I had to leave a little bit early. So that's as far as I got. But we'll get back into that tomorrow. So a lot of people saying, why did you stay? Guys, I think it's important to understand people stay in these situations because it's not about Diddy, it's about their careers. And I think Capricorn stayed, and a lot of people are like, why are you staying? Why are you staying? Well, first of all, I don't want to get blackballed. You guys know you have to play the game. How many times y'all tell me stay in situations and just play the game and play the game, tuck your head? Like, it's easy to say get out when you're not in it. But imagine being in it. It's your lifestyle. It's your livelihood. This man controls everything. He's intimidating you. He has the industry on lock, the police on lock, knows everything about you. He's paying for your apartment, paying for your car. People, and then let's be clear, regular people will kill just to be in your position. Like, let's just be clear here. And I hate to even bring other people up. And this is on a very small, minute level. Let's just take a Zeus Network, or let's just take these celebrities here. I can get into it with a celebrity right now. There's celebrities that have violated my privacy, recorded me and everything. I get upset. Y'all take the celebrity side because they're more famous and you want that proximity. There's things that are going on with Zeus Network and all these different rumors. These celebrities don't speak up. You consumers don't stop subscribing. What you do is say, screw them, pick me. I'll do the job. I'll be a part of the cast because I want the opportunity. I want the proximity. So you can't just say, oh, you should just quit. You should just do that because there's 20,000 of you willing to take my job and deal with it because you want the proximity. So you wouldn't just quit. You wouldn't because there's somebody that's going to just move into your spot and take your life because you guys are not going to say, you know what, Diddy, you're wrong. Or said celebrity, you're wrong. We're going to stand in solitude with this no-name person. No, The average person is going to say, well, hell, get out the way and I'll take the opportunity. Hit me. I'll be famous. I'll have proximity to celebrities. I want to be on a TV show. Oh, this person's just a clout chaser. This person doesn't know how to work. This person doesn't, isn't emotionally, competent. I'm a better choice. So what am I going to quit for and be standing alone? I'd rather be in a torturous situation and being able to go to the south of France with Rihanna and spending my money. So I'm just saying, let's just be real. Ain't no way if this lady would have came out without Cassie in the height of Diddy stuff right now and saying he did all this stuff with her, to her, y'all would have took her side. And she'd have said, I'm stepping down. Somebody would have said, listen, I'll take the job. And y'all would have called this lady a clout chaser. It's no shade. Let's just be honest. The general public does not care about people that are less famous and less rich. Because you know what you care about? Them getting out the way and you taking their job because you want the opportunity. So don't just put the pressure on these people to quit and walk away from their jobs when you will be so quick to take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be real. So, I don't know. But, so wait, hold on. Lisa said, but the essay was crazy. The essay was kind of crazy. The essay takes it a little far. No shade. It actually takes it a lot far. But think about how many women stay in relationships that have been essayed anyway, without a rich man behind them. Some people getting essayed in their families that don't say nothing, and they broke and poor, and they still stay. That's just a lot of women's code. Unfortunately, women don't want to tell people because they don't want to get judged. They're embarrassed. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing either way, but I'm just saying, well, there's people going through it with broke and staying. Imagine having a career. You might bite the bullet. You might bite the bullet, especially if he holds all the power. I'm just saying. So, I don't know. We got to just be a little bit easier on people with that stuff because there's a lot more variables to this, in my opinion. This is the man with billions of dollars at a point. You get what I'm saying? And you even had the police at your feet. You had power. You had godlike power. You had the ability to make fingerprints and people disappear. You could make one phone call across the world and stop a bag for somebody. Capricorn Clark still ain't working the way she would like to. So it's a different kind of power that he had over people's lives. And the entertainment business is just but so big, especially if you work for one of the biggest people in it. So I don't know. I don't want to victim shame on that because I know there's a lot of variables that probably went into that, into why she couldn't leave or why a lot of people didn't leave. So, all right, y'all. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you guys be on my page. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. I love y'all all. We'll be back with more. And again, I'm sorry for being late today, but I love y'all so much. Shout out to the 20,000 people in the chat today. And I will see y'all soon. All right. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.